Kenya. Information about the country. History. East Africa consists of Kenya and Tanzania, together with Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi. Archaeological findings of skulls belonging to primitive man, estimated at 1.5 million years old, have led archaeologists to believe that this region was once the cradle of civilization. In neighborhood Ethiopia, for instance, archaeologists found a skeleton believed to date back some 3.5 million years ago. Bantu-speaking tribes settled in the coast hinterland some 2,000 years ago. It is believed that they had spread to the east and the south from the region known as the Cameroon and hosted the original inhabitants there. Very little is known of the region in the first 1,000 years Anno Domini. Around the year 900 AD, the Arabs landed on the East African coast and proceeded to build towns and develop trade links with Arabia, India, and even China. A Swahili civilization developed under the influence of the Arab traders and the local Bantu population from the Arabic Swahili, meaning coastal inhabitants. The East African coast was subject to Portuguese rule for 200 years after its discovery by Vasco da Gama in 1498. In the mid-18th century, the Sultan of Oman conquered the island of Zanzibar, which now belongs to Tanzania, and the coast of Kenya. The Arabs maintained control over East Africa until the Europeans returned in the 19th century to change the course of history for the state forming East Africa. Great Britain and German Empire forged new borders which divided up their own spheres of interest. As a result, Kenya and Uganda fell under British rule, whilst Tanganyika, that is now Tanzania, Rwanda, and Burundi became German colonies. In 1895, the British officially took control of the Protectorate of East Africa, once building of the so-called Iron Snake, as the Maasai called the railway line between Mombasa and Lake Victoria, was completed in the early 20th century. The first white settlers arrived to colonize the fertile white highlands of Nairobi. The white settlers established tea and coffee plantations, forcing the indigenous population off of their native lands into Nairobi or drawing them into the colonial economy. In 1920, Kenya became a British Crown colony. In 1952, the natives' anger at the foreigner settlers erupted in the form of a rebellion. Over the course of the ensuing 4 years, the death toll rose over 10,000, both natives and Europeans. The British managed to end the uprising in 1956, and Jomo Kenyatta, the leader of the underground movement, was arrested. 3 years later, in 1959, it was agreed that the new constitution will gradually return the power to the hand of the indigenous people. Although he was still in prison, Kenyatta became president of the new founded Kenya African National Union, that is KANU, in 1960. On December 12, 1963, Kenya was granted independence. Exactly 1 year later, Jomo Kenyatta was elected the first president of the new state, which had been named Kenya after him. Kenyatta's land reform led to the redistribution of most of the land which had formerly belonged to the white settlers. Vice President Daniel Arap Moi succeeded Kenyatta following the latter's death in 1978. Kenya is a presidential republic within the Commonwealth of Nations. The Constitution was promulgated in 1982 and the last amendments made in 1991 led to the introduction of the multi-party system. The parliament consists of 202 members who serve a 5-year term of office. Kenyan citizens enjoy the right of universal suffrage. Although Kenya is generally regarded by other African nations as a model of success, domestic tensions continue to cause unrest within the country. People. Kenya has a population of approximately 54 million people who belong to some 40 different ethnic groupings. The Bantu-speaking people, who account for 60% of the entire population, are the largest groupings, including Kikuyu, Luya, and Kamba, with 20%, 13% and 11% of the population, respectively. Roughly 30% of the Kenyan population are Nilotes, including Luos, Kalenjins, and Maasai, with 13%, 10%, and 1.5% of the population, respectively. The Cushitic are another important ethnic grouping, 3%. The Somalis belong to the latter. Kenya is very much a multicultural state and as such is also home to some 500,000 Indians, 300,000 Arabs, and 200,000 Europeans, including some 300,000 refugees, mostly from Somalia. The small Asian minority from India and Pakistan occupies a significant position in the Kenyan society. The Asians were brought to Kenya by the British colonial rulers at the turn of the century to work on the Mombasa-Uganda Railway. Today, they play an important role in trade and industry. Many white settlers left the country after independence was declared. There are now no more than 200,000 white Kenyan citizens. Kenya has the world's highest rate of population growth, approximately 4%. Children are still a symbol of wealth, security for old age, and male virility. A woman with many children also enjoys a respectable social reputation. For this reason, only 20% of women practice family planning. There is nothing worse for a woman than sterility. Education. All children must attend school in Kenya. The system of education is based on the British model and, as a result, is divided into primary, lasting for 8 years, and secondary, lasting for 4 years school education. Fees must be paid for both. Over and above, there are also boarding schools which are, however, too expensive for the average Kenyan. Statistics show that only 5% of children who go to primary school will continue their education at university level. 15% of Kenyans are illiterate. Religion. Some 60% of Kenyans believe in the Christian faith. They are divided into many different Christian communities, the largest of which are the Catholics, 29%, and the Protestants, 20%. Only 6% of Kenyans are followers of the Islamic faith, predominantly in the coastal regions. This, nevertheless, makes Islam the second most important religion in Kenya after Christianity. Many of the 200 independent churches have broken away from the traditional Western form of Christianity. This was generally in protest over the mission churches with their intense European influence. The faithful are now endeavoring to blend the Christian faith with traditional African elements of religion. Almost 1/3 of the rural population believes in animism, although beliefs vary from people to people. Animists share the belief that all natural objects have a soul. They also worship their ancestors. Tradition and culture. Over the course of history, Kenya has successfully combined Arabic, Asian, and European ways of life with the African traditions. Nowadays, Kenya is confronted with radical changes in its social structure. More and more men are moving to the towns in their search for work, whilst their wives, children, and elderly relatives stay at home in the country. Nevertheless, the extended family is still the backbone of the Kenyan society. Elderly people are treated with great respect, partly because they are thought to mediate between the living and the ancestors. Kenyans who live in the towns dress in a more Western style. Their clothes do tend to be somewhat more colorful. However, traditional dress is generally worn by people in the northern regions, for example, the Turkana and Samburu and the Maasai. The most popular piece of clothing for women is the kanga, sometimes called a leso. This is a piece of colorful cotton cloth which is wrapped imaginatively around the body and tied in a knot. In western areas, the women cover themselves with a black buibui, whilst the men wear full-length white shirts called kanzu. Men also wear an embroidered prayer cap known as the kofia. Christian and Western influences are slowly repressing the traditional practice of polygamy. Amongst the older generations, it is nevertheless still widespread and accepted. The younger generation, however, no longer considers the prospect of more than one wife as desirable. Many children mean more school fees and high living costs in the towns. The problem as a whole is reflected in a Kikuyu proverb which says, "Two wives, two pots of poison." A similar trend also manifests itself in female circumcision, which was banned in Kenya in 1983, but is nevertheless still practiced. Efforts are being made to educate the Kenyan population as to the gynecological problems involved. The older generation believes, however, that the circumcision is a female necessity and that girls are otherwise impure. Waganga, that is medicine men, continue to hold an important position in the Kenyan society, although Nairobi enjoys the highest standard of medicine of any African city. Approximately 1,000 traditionally African medicine men practice officially in the Nairobi area. The patient and doctor often know one another, with the result that not only the ill organ but also body and soul as a whole can be treated. The patient and doctor often know one another, with the result that not only the ill organ but also the body and soul as a whole can be treated. The methods of treatment vary from magic and herbs to psychotherapeutic treatment such as shock therapy. Many Kenyans attach great importance to the role of their ancestors in their everyday life. The latter are believed to continue to influence the lives of the living and the well-being of the community after their death. Good and bad spirits are thought to exist, and this must be appeased with sacrifices, sorcery, amulets, and charms. The Kenyans also believe that all forms of nature such as trees, springs, and mountains have a soul of their own. For example, the baobab tree is believed to be inhabited by spirits. Plans to fell such a tree must be announced 2 weeks beforehand, so that the spirits have the opportunity to move to another baobab. Natural friendliness, humor, and open-mindedness are qualities encountered everywhere in Kenya. A healthy dose of calmness completes the picture. Neither the pressure of time nor the heaviness of the heaving crowds in the matatus or small buses can shatter this calmness. In general, Kenyans are very hospitable people. The Swahili word mgeni has two meanings. Firstly, stranger, and secondly, guest. Impatience, bureaucracy, and impoliteness will get one nowhere in Kenya, particularly not at business meetings. A word or two of the Swahili such as jambo, meaning hello, will always be appreciated. A man aged 35 or over may be addressed in Swahili as mzee, which means the eldest in English. This demonstrates respect and deference. Bibi for woman and bwana for men are formally forms of address which precede the surname. Mama and baba are the more familiar forms. If one does not know a Kenyan name, it is quite customary to use English, sir and madam. One should never call a waiter boy. He should be addressed as steward or bwana. It is customary to shake hands when meeting people or when shaking one's leave. Kenyans may even use both hands. It is important, however, to greet the old man first and to continue according to age, youngest last. Women should be greeted next, again according to age, and finally, children. The word for hello is jambo or habari, and for goodbye, kwaheri. Safari njema means have a good journey. Gestures, etiquette, and taboos. Many years of British influence have left their mark, and Kenyans are thus familiar with British gestures and customs. Kenyans like to receive guests. An invitation to a Kenyan's home is to be taken seriously. It is also quite normal for Kenyans to turn up unexpectedly. Moreover, guests are welcome to stay as long as they like. One should take a small gift for one's host. Sweets and candies are always a good idea. Flowers are also even given to pay one's condolences. As the left hand is considered unclean, one should never accept a gift with one's left hand, nor should one pass a gift to another person using one's left hand. One should never point at another person. Foreigners should never touch an elderly Kenyan. One must take care when using one's camera. It is always best to ask people before taking their picture. By way of example, the Maasai, a favorite subject for tourists' cameras, who live in very remote areas, are afraid of the box, which steals their soul. It is worth noting, however, that this fear can disappear for a few shillings. One should never take a photograph of airports, railway stations, bridges, military posts, police stations, or the president's palace. Those who do try their luck can count themselves fortunate if the police only confiscate their film. One may find oneself in prison if one damages pictures or banknotes showing the president or highly regarded figures. Despite the tropical heat, it is advisable to dress carefully, both men and women. Miniskirts or dresses, shorts and sleeveless shirts are definite no's. Conservative dress is definitely required for business meetings and at public events. Men should wear a shirt and tie and long trousers. Jackets can be taken off when the offer is made, although this is not the case for formal dinner appointments after 6:30 p.m. Women should wear a knee-length dress or skirt and a blouse with the latter not sleeveless. Food and drink. The British influence is also very evident in gastronomy. Kenyans are familiar with British eating and drinking habits. The city dwellers eat a hearty breakfast, a light lunch, and a hot meal in the evening. A cocktail or sundowner is often drunk before dinner. Eating and drinking habits tend to vary from region to region. Many people eat small, sweet snacks early in the morning, savory snacks such as samosas during the day, and then a large meal in the evening. Kenyans drink a lot of tea with milk. The coffee from the highlands is also delicious. Many people in rural regions eat with their fingers. At the table, one should take care not to use one's left hand for anything. Conversation. Useful topics for discussion include the national parks, sport, that is Kenyan athletes, especially marathon runners, are among the world's best, and culture. Short phrases for everyday situations. Most Kenyans speak or understand several languages. However, the three major language groupings are Bantu, Nilotic, and Cushitic. Kiswahili, a Bantu language, is the official language, whilst English is the language of trade and education and is spoken or at least understood by many Kenyans. Swahili is spoken by as many people worldwide as German, although only 0.5% of the population speak it as their mother tongue. It is the second or third language for 65%. Good morning, good evening, or good day is equal jambo or salamu. Welcome is equal to karibu. Goodbye is equal to kwaheri. How are you is equal to habari. I'm fine is equal to mzuri. Thank you very much is equal to asante sana. Please is equal to tafadhali. I'm sorry is equal to pole. Slowly is equal to pole pole. Have you got any problems is equal to je una matata. No problems is equal to hakuna matata. Culinary delights. Kenya is a multicultural society, and this is reflected in Kenyan cuisine. Each ethnic people has its own specialities in many areas. African, Asian, and Indian influences have combined to form Swahili cuisine. Moreover, the British also left their mark on Kenyan's culinary map. Pies, steaks, and puddings are also very popular. Corn and millet are the staple foods in Kenya. This is why many of the dishes are rich in starch. The national meal ugali is a firm corn pulp served with vegetables, meal, and fish. Matoke is a mushy plantain pulp. Irio is a specialty of the Kikuyu people. It is stew made from beans, peas, potatoes, and corn. Posho is a sweet corn dish. A tasty Swahili dish is made of fish, beef, or chicken in a coconut milk sauce served with rice or ugali. Local beer, Kenya Gold, that is coffee liquor, and wine from the Lake Naivasha region are popular beverages. The coffee and tea from the highlands of Kenya are delicious. The wide selection of fresh fruits makes the excellent desserts. Oriental and Asian dishes tend to be very spicy. The most popular specialties include curry and rice dishes. Chapatis are small pancakes which are often eaten with curry. Sambusas or samosas are crispy, triangular pastry pockets filled with meat or vegetables. Restaurants. Kenya's capital city has many good restaurants. Some, which are of a Western standard, can be found in the international hotels, whilst others with true local character are located in and around Nairobi. It is always best to reserve a table in advance. The usual health precautions for tropical countries should be observed in Nairobi. In other words, ice cubes and salads should be avoided, and meat and poultry should be well cooked. It is best to avoid fish in Nairobi, as seafood is generally badly stored for transportation to the capital city. Fruit should be washed and properly cleaned. It is best to drink only boiled water or bottled mineral water. Any other drink should be also bottled. The horseman in the suburb of Karen is recommendable. The setting is a rustic farmhouse that is extremely pleasant. Carnival is a must for meat eaters. Here, you will find a feast of African meat specialties, from antelope to zebra. The grilled specialty, that is nyama choma, is served from the spit. However, feels like a dance can pop next door to the Simba Saloon, one of the most popular discotheques in Nairobi, Langata Road, approximately 20 minutes by taxi. The African Heritage Restaurant serves various African specialties around Kenyatta Avenue. La Galleria and Tona Tree in the International Casino serve excellent Italian cuisine, although other dishes are also available. A casino and discotheque are located in the same complex. Handi serves the best Indian food in Nairobi. Giromo Hideaway in the Mall Shopping Center. Nairobi Tamarind is one of Nairobi's best restaurants, serving fresh seafood which is delivered daily from the coast. Despite the warning in the introduction, one can eat in the restaurant without having to worry. The standard is first class. There is a second branch of the Tamarind restaurant in Nairobi. The legendary Norfolk Hotel is built in style of the English country house and has been such famous guests as Hemingway and Churchill. The hotel has several restaurants, including the terrace where small snacks are served around Haridhuku Road. Sightseeing. Nairobi was quickly built in 1896 as a camp for railway construction workers. The location was ideal, as is the name Enkare, Nairobi, suggesting it means place of cold water in Maasai. Today the city has a population of 1.5 million and is the center of trade and business in East Africa. Many conferences and congresses are held in Nairobi. The city is also the seat to numerous organizations including the UN Environment High Commission and UNESCO's Africa High Commission. Nairobi is also referred to as the Green City by the Sun due to the altitude at which it stands, 1,670 meters, and its closeness to the equator, that is 120 kilometers. It enjoys a pleasant climate and has a magnificent array of plant life. The city itself does not have many sights. Most attractions are out with Nairobi, that is, travel agencies and hotels can book city tours. Parliament House, City Hall, the Law Courts and the Kenyan Conference Center are all located around City Square, the true heart of Nairobi. The Conference Center has a 34-floor tower. At the very top is a revolving restaurant, the Kenyan Monument and Kenyatta Mausoleum. The National Museum is open every day from 9:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. with a first-class insight into the country and its inhabitants. The Railway Museum on the southwest outskirts of the city is open from Monday to Saturday between 8:30 a.m. and 4:45 p.m. It documents railway history in Kenya with an exhibition of historical locomotives. In the halls of the city market, one will find a wide selection of foods, flowers, and souvenirs. Excursions. Kenya is one of the most attractive travel destinations in Africa. Unique scenery, beautiful beaches, and fascinating fauna and flora make Kenya a unique and quite unforgettable holiday spot. Many visitors to Kenya are tourists who know what they wish to see and do. Classic highlights include a stay at the coast Mombasa, Lamu, Malindi, and a safari at one of the national parks. The most famous wildlife reserves are Masai Mara National Park, Amboseli Game Reserve at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro, that is 5,895 meters, and Mount Kenya National Park, 5,199 meters. Every park has a good road network and excellent lodges. The area around Lake Turkana is also very interesting again, with several national parks. There are two main seasons in Kenya: the major rain season, as from late March until mid-May, and the second is from late October until early December. During these periods, certain roads may be blocked. The area around Nairobi also offers possibilities for interesting day trips. The following is but a small selection. The Karen Blixen Museum is worth a visit. This farmhouse, which has been converted into a museum in the suburb of Karen, is open from 9:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. Under her pseudonym, Isaac Dinesen, the Danish Baroness, wrote the novels Out of Africa and Shadows on the Grass. These were the basis of the 1986 film Out of Africa. Parts of the farm features in the film. Nearby, directly on the boundaries of Nairobi National Park, is the Giraffe Center, where one can handle the giraffes eye to eye. From a raised structure which also houses a display of information about giraffes. The small tea room is an ideal place to enjoy a good cup of tea and homemade cake. Anyone with only a little time to spare can visit Nairobi National Park, a 30-minute drive from the city center, for an insight into virtually all of Kenya's big game: zebras, hippopotami, giraffes, rhinoceros, lions, and many other species of wildlife, set against the background of Nairobi skyline. On a clear day, one can even see as far as Mount Kilimanjaro. The East African escarpment makes the steep descent to the northern part of Nairobi. A visit is more than impressive. Rift Valley is flanked by plateaus, mountains, and volcanoes, whilst the bottom of the valley gives way to Lake Naivasha and Lake Nakuru, both soda lakes, and are an Eldorado for pelicans and flamingos, as they are very rich in algae. Even from a distance, one can see the pink gleam on the horizon. Since the birds fly from one lake to the next, one can never really be sure whether they will be there when one visits. Both attractions can be visited in one day. Of course, staying overnight, Nakuru or Lion Hill Lodge will really open a visitor's eye to the beauty of the surroundings. Cultural highlights. What's On magazine or the daily press are the best sources of information about cultural events. At the Bomas of Kenya Cultural Center, daily performances or traditional dances are held, although it is all arranged to appeal to tourists. The open-air museum with its bomas, those are called also farmsteads, offer an interesting insight into the life of the Kenyan people. Shopping. Popular souvenirs from Kenya include wood carvings in all shapes and sizes. For example, statues, salad servers and napkin rings, soapstone carvings, for instance, chessboards, candlesticks and boxes, traditional weapons such as spears, arrows and shields, jewelry, coffee table books, batiks, glass bead jewelry, plated bags and baskets made of sisal. One must take care, however, as it is prohibited to export fur, wild animal skin and head trophies. The city market or the numerous curio shops in the city center are good places to shop. One should, of course, remember to bargain at the market. African handicrafts can be purchased from African Heritage. The small branch on Jomo Kenyatta Avenue stocks more than exclusive items, whilst the other branch is on Mombasa Road towards the airport. As a rule, shops are open from Monday to Friday between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., although many close for lunch between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturdays. They are only open in the morning. Smaller shops may be open longer, sometimes even on Sundays. Public holidays. January 1st, New Year's Day, Easter, Good Friday, and Easter Monday. Eid al-Fitr, end of Ramadan. May 1st, Labor Day. June 1st, Madaraka Day, to commemorate the attainment of self-government in 1963. October 10th, Moi Day. October 20th, Kenyatta Day. December 12th, Jamhuri Day or Independence Day. December 25th and 26th, Christmas. One should never leave one's travel documents or valuables in the hotel room. They are best locked away in the hotel safe. The crime rate in Nairobi is very high. As a result, one should not go out for a walk alone at night. Moreover, it is a good idea to take only a little money in one's pocket to the market or when shopping in the city. If mugged, one should not try to counterattack. The national currency is the Kenyan shilling, KES. It is prohibited to import or export shillings. One can, however, import as much Western currency as one wishes, although the amount has to be declared on arrival. It is therefore wise to keep any bills until one leaves the country. Money may be changed in the hotels or in city banks. Changing money on the black market is not advisable. A US dollar 20 departure tax must be paid. It is advisable to ensure as to the vaccination requirements before setting out for Kenya. One should take the danger of malaria very seriously. In any case, when evening falls, it is important to cover one's arms and legs and to use insect spray. If a mosquito net is provided in the hotel, it should be used. As the temperature can fall quite rapidly in the evening in Nairobi, as in most highland regions, one should remember to pack a pullover. One should agree on a price with taxi drivers before setting out. A 10% tip is customary.